Alright, so today's next to Tuesday. We're making a winch bumper like I shared in the story. So we have our winch, we have our body trimmed out, and then I'm going to start having these winch bumper set. It's going to be 2 long bumper tabs and the winch plate, and I'll show you how these are going to go together. So you're going to screw the long bumper tabs into place just like you normally would existing bumper holes, and then okay, so we have them bolted on at the moment. So with these slotted tabs, I like to put them all the way forward, so once you get everything built and set up, you can still suck it in as tight to the body as possible. Alright, so with those tabs in place, the winch plate, as you get it from us, the length it is pretty darn perfect for setting it into this width, and it gives you just enough gap on each side to give you a little bit of material to weld or brace to. So got that on there. Set our body on, and then oops, scoot that a little more forward. We'll set our winch on, and I'm realizing I need to trim off the bumper. Alright, so did a little X-Acto score and snap, got the bumper removed. So we get the winch plate on here, and we can get this winch really tight up against the grill. So if you look, there's multiple holes and there's a little bit of an offset, so there's more gap on the front and less gap on the back for these holes, and that's kind of goes with these winches. So the holes are kind of more offset towards the back. So when you set these up, you definitely want to have the bigger gap to the front, so you can adjust your winch if you need to, more front, or what most people like is all the way, is sucked in tight to the body as possible, and that's what we're going to do here. Another very important thing, before you weld your winch plate to your side pieces, is to space the side pieces off the rails a little bit. Every time you weld something like this, it's going to shrink a little bit, and it's going to be super tight to get on. So I have just some little spacers for my M3 hardware, and it's very important to run this between the long bumper mount and the chassis. Alright, so I have the washers installed on the long bumper tabs, and then we have the plate. So there's a little bit of overhang on both sides, and we can start welding. One more thing, I did not run the winch plate up against the plastic brace because we slid these tabs all the way forward. If we would have put this pinned up against the plastic brace, there would be no adjustability. So I left 2 millimeters. I used my MIP just to kind of give me like a feeler gauge and make sure I have equal space at the corner, so I know how much of a gap I have. Alright, so I have my V-clamp, and I get a V-clamp going to my table and then going to the opposite side of where I'm welding. So the bumper plate is grounded. And we'll move our ground to the other side. Check our gap. Gap is good. Tack the other end. Alright, so we have the base for our bumper done here. We have our long bumper tabs, and we have our winch plate. This is kind of how it's going to look with the body on there, and there's still room to push it in some. I still haven't mounted the body on here, so we have to get the body centered over the wheel wells, but I still have room to adjust. So these winch plates are good for mounting winches, and they're also good for servo plates. On this particular build, I have another one between the rails for my steering servo, just to get the steering servo a little bit lower, a little bit flatter, and yeah, they have dual purposes: winches and servo mounts. You can see the servo mounts on there, the little VP mounts. Thanks for watching this week's Next Tip Tuesday. So this one is going to be like a multi-part one. So that was like the foundation, making the winch plate, and then the next episode we're going to do is going to be making the bars, so the 3/16 rod for the full width of the bumper, and then I might measure the templates for the plates because it's going to have some plates on it. The truck that I shared in the story is what this is going to be modeled after. Thanks for watching.